You didn't click on this video by accident. It found you. And maybe, just maybe, that's the mercy of Allah in action. Because when Allah wants to reach someone, He doesn't need a phone screen, an algorithm, or even a moment of free time. No, He moves the entire universe. He delays your sleep. He redirects your scroll. He places the right words in front of your eyes at the exact moment your heart is ready to receive them. He gently pulls at your soul, softening it with subtle nudges that only you can feel. What if the pain you've been hiding, the confusion that's been clouding your thoughts, that quiet, aching heaviness in your chest, isn't just something you're going through, but something Allah is trying to speak through? What if your suffering isn't just a test, but a message, a divine whisper hidden in your heartbreak? Stay with me. These moments you're experiencing right now, they are not coincidences. They are not just signs. They are conversations. And somewhere in these sacred signs might be the very answer you've been crying out for in the dark. 1. You start feeling tired around certain people, even when nothing obvious happens. You walk into the room. You smile. You nod. You laugh. Everything looks normal on the outside. But when you leave, you feel drained. Not physically, emotionally, spiritually. The exhaustion hits differently. It's not because of what was said, but because of what was felt. No one disrespected you. No words were thrown. And yet, something inside you feels off. It's not anxiety. It's not just overthinking. That discomfort, that's your fitra, your soul's natural compass, the internal guidance system Allah placed within every heart. It knows. It senses. It whispers, you don't belong here anymore. It feels the subtle jealousy, the unspoken judgments, the silent comparisons. It detects energy that isn't aligned with your peace, even before your mind can explain it. You keep questioning yourself. Why do I feel like this? They didn't even do anything. But that's exactly the point. Not all harm is loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It hides behind kind eyes and polite words. But your soul knows, and it's trying to protect you. Don't ignore that signal. Don't bury that uneasiness under politeness. That isn't weakness. That's guidance. If you stay too long in places where your soul is shrinking, you'll start losing pieces of yourself. You'll begin to feel smaller, less confident, less alive. Not because something's wrong with you, but because you're surrounded by hearts that don't breathe the same air your soul was created to rise in. When Allah pulls your peace from a space, it's not cruelty, it's a sign. It's His way of saying, you've outgrown this. I have better for you. So let go. Walk away with grace, because your next chapter doesn't require anyone's permission, just your obedience to the one who never misguides a heart that listens. 2. You keep losing things you thought you couldn't live without, but somehow you're still breathing. You were convinced it would break you. That relationship, that opportunity, that version of your future you clung to so tightly. You planned everything down to the last detail. You loved with sincerity. You waited with patience. You made so many heartfelt du'as, hoping it would all work out. But it didn't. And when it all slipped through your fingers, it felt like the air left your lungs. You wondered how you'd survive without it, how you'd move forward without the future you once dreamed of. But look at you. You're still breathing, still here, still standing. Maybe not the same, but maybe that's the point. But somehow, despite all your effort, it still slipped through your hands. And when it did, you didn't just lose a person, a job, or a dream. You lost something deeper. You lost a part of yourself. The version of the future you had imagined shattered. The identity you had built around that hope crumbled. And for a while, it felt like the world stopped spinning. You walked into rooms filled with people, smiled for pictures, laughed in conversations, but inside, you were hollow, alone in a crowd. You listened to the Quran, trying to feel peace, but the ache in your chest whispered, "Why me?" Your soul was hurting in a way no one could see. You kept replaying the past, obsessing over every detail. What if I had done this differently? Why didn't I notice the signs? Why would Allah give it to me, just to take it away? But here's the truth. No one tells you in the beginning. Allah doesn't take from you to hurt you. He takes to wake you up. Because sometimes we make something else our peace. We place our hope in the gift and slowly forget the giver. We worship the plan more than the one who authored it. So Allah, in His mercy, removes it. Sometimes gently, sometimes all at once, sometimes without explanation, but always with wisdom, and always with the promise that if you remain patient, something better is on the way. The pain wasn't a punishment, it was a divine shift, a transformation, a movement from depending on the temporary to holding tightly to the eternal, from finding your worth in people to finding your strength in your connection with the one who never leaves. Yes, it still stings, but you're still breathing. The sun still rises, your heart still beats, and somewhere between the heartbreak and the healing, something beautiful began to emerge. You started finding pieces of yourself again. That's not just survival, that's spiritual transformation. That's proof that what you lost was never what was keeping you alive. Allah was. He saw what you couldn't. Maybe that relationship would have pulled you away from Him. Maybe that job would have fed your pride. Maybe that dream, if fulfilled, would have distracted you from your purpose. So He stepped in. He removed it, not to leave you empty, but to make room for you to become full, full of reliance, full of sincerity, full of a deeper kind of peace. And if you're honest with yourself, maybe the pain drew you closer to Allah in a way that ease never could. Maybe it humbled you. Maybe it taught you patience. Maybe it exposed fake love so that when something real arrives, you'll recognize it without hesitation. And that love, that job, that future, it won't confuse your heart. It won't require you to beg for validation. It won't pull you away from your faith. It will arrive with peace. It will carry purpose. It will feel like Allah is saying, now you're ready. So don't rush to fill the space left by loss. Let Allah rebuild you first. Let Him write a story far greater than the one you were desperate to hold on to. Because this time, it won't break. This time, you won't have to force it. This time, it will be from Him. And anything that comes from Allah is always worth the wait, even if it arrives after everything you thought you couldn't survive. You began to wonder, what's happening to me? Just when everything was finally moving forward, when your plans were starting to make sense, it all began to slow down. At first, it felt like a minor pause, but then days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. You started questioning yourself. Why now? Why when I was finally getting closer to my goals? And it's in this silence, this unfamiliar stillness, where Shaitan begins to whisper the loudest. He wants you to believe you've been abandoned. He wants to convince you that Allah is disappointed with you, that He's paused your life out of anger. But that's a lie, a cruel deception, because Allah never stops a believer's journey. He simply reroutes it. And this slow season you're in, it's not punishment, It's divine strategy. Before Allah elevates a soul, He humbles it. Before He gives you more, He gently clears away what no longer serves your journey. Before He opens new doors, He ensures your heart is strong enough to walk through them. You can't carry new blessings with old wounds. You can't step into new opportunities with a heart still clinging to the past. So, this stillness is not wasted time, it's sacred ground. It's where Allah begins healing the wounds no one can see. It's where He teaches you a level of sabr that success never could. It's where you're stripped of your need to control outcomes, and you're taught, sometimes painfully, that true peace comes from leaning solely on Him. That's the secret. Sometimes Allah pauses your life, not to hold you back, but to pull you closer. He slows down your external world so you can catch up internally. You're not stuck. You're not being left behind. You're being protected from premature success, from spiritual burnout, from gifts you're not yet ready to receive. Because success that arrives before your soul is prepared isn't a blessing, it's a test. Imagine receiving everything you prayed for, but without the strength to hold it, without the wisdom to protect it, without the patience to grow with it. That's why Allah pauses you. That's why He slows you down, not to punish but to prepare. You think you're falling behind, but He's actually pulling you aside for refinement, like gold purified in fire, like arrows pulled back so they can be launched forward with precision and power. This isn't the end of your journey. This is the quiet before the transformation. This is Allah turning the page of your story. He's preparing a plot twist you never saw coming, one that will make the wait make perfect sense. You are not late. You are being timed by the one who knows your heart better than you do. So rest in the pause, pray in the pause, grow in the pause, because soon the silence will break and your life will begin to speak louder than ever before. And when that moment comes, you'll look back and thank Allah for every delay that shaped your destiny. You suddenly feel uncomfortable with the sin you once ignored. What used to feel normal, even easy, now feels heavy. Even the thought of it makes your chest tighten, your conscience stir, and your heart ache. It's no longer just something you do, it's something you regret. You feel dirty, ashamed, tired, and confused. You wonder why it's affecting you so much now when you didn't care before. But let me tell you this discomfort you feel is one of the most powerful signs that Allah hasn't given up on you. If He had, you wouldn't feel anything at all. When a sin starts to taste bitter, it's not because the sin itself has changed, it's because you have. Allah is purifying your heart. He's unclogging it from the stains you used to ignore, softening it, making it sensitive and alive again. He's making you human again, more aware of the right and wrong, more in tune with the state of your soul. People around you might still say, relax, it's not a big deal. But they don't understand. They can't hear what your conscience hears. They can't feel what you feel. That discomfort you feel is sacred. It's your soul pushing back against the darkness, fighting to stay pure. It's Allah telling you, I've chosen you for something better. I've chosen you for something cleaner, something higher. You may still slip up. You may still fall. But the key here is this. Falling with guilt is not the same as falling with arrogance. Guilt is a sign that your heart is still trying, still searching for righteousness. Every time you walk away from that sin, even if your legs are shaking, you win. Fighting a sin that once felt easy is a spiritual victory that no one else sees. But Allah sees it. The angels record it. He sees your struggle, and He never leaves the heart that is still trying, still reaching for Him. You're not fake. You're not a hypocrite. You're simply someone who is waking up to who you truly are. You were never meant to stay stuck in secret shame. You were always meant to rise above it. That feeling of guilt, that sick, heavy ache in your chest, it's not punishment. It's hope in disguise. It means the door of repentance, Tauba, is still wide open. It means Allah is near, watching, waiting, and loving you in this moment. The moment you feel bad about a sin, you're already halfway to forgiveness. That feeling of discomfort is a sign that Allah is calling you back, not to punish you, but to purify, heal, and elevate you. And once your heart has tasted the peace that comes from turning back to Allah, you'll find that the fake highs of sin will never satisfy you again. You won't be able to go back because you've experienced something far greater, the peace that only comes from Allah's mercy and forgiveness. You know, sometimes you stay silent when your soul is screaming. You keep trying to be enough for people who were never meant to stay in your life. And maybe, just maybe, you still don't believe you're worthy of a love that doesn't hurt. But here's the secret that most people never hear. The tests in your life don't repeat to punish you. They repeat to strengthen you. They come to teach you that you're allowed to choose differently, to remind you that every no you give to someone else is a yes to your own peace. Allah doesn't just want to protect your heart, He wants to elevate it. That's why He sends reminders, sometimes in the form of familiar faces or people who come close, only for you to realize this isn't what I want anymore. Every time you walk away from what no longer aligns with your faith, you're not just passing a test, you're proving to yourself that you've grown. The same kind of person might show up, but this time you respond differently. This time you recognize the red flags faster. This time you don't beg to be seen. You know your worth. And when that happens, when you finally stop chasing what once broke you, something incredible begins to unfold. Allah replaces what's harmful with what's healing. He sends someone who doesn't feel like a test, but like a dua you almost forgot you made. Someone who listens instead of controls, who respects instead of uses, who brings you closer to Allah instead of pulling you away. But you'll never meet them if you keep running from reflection. Maybe this lesson, this pattern, this repetition is not to hurt you, but to free you. Free you from people, free you from your past, free you from the lies you once believed about love, pain, and self-worth. You're not broken, you're in training, and the test keeps coming until you finally realize that you've outgrown the cycle. 6. There are moments when, without any warning, you find yourself crying in sujood. You didn't plan for it. It wasn't part of the prayer. You walked to the prayer mat with a tired body, a distracted mind, expecting nothing more than to just fulfill your duty, to simply tick off a box. But somewhere between the first takbir and the final sujood, something shifted. And when your head touched the ground, you didn't just feel the floor. You felt everything you had buried. The pain you never told anyone about. The guilt you kept pretending wasn't real. The confusion you masked with fake smiles. All of it came rushing to the surface, not through words, but through tears. You didn't even understand why. There was no tragedy that day, no heartbreak, no disaster, just this deep, raw emotion erupting from a place you had ignored for far too long. It felt like your soul cracked open, like all the feelings you never allowed yourself to process finally found a way out, quietly, gently, beautifully in front of Allah. You see, when we cry in front of people, it's often for comfort, for reassurance. But when we cry in front of Allah, it's for release, it's for freedom. Sujood becomes a sacred place of surrender where you don't need eloquence, you don't need fancy duas. All you need is your heart, your vulnerability, and your sincerity. In that moment, nothing else matters except your connection with the one who created you, who sees you, and who holds you in your moments of pain. There is no judgment, no pressure, just the pure, raw release of everything you've been carrying. Or perhaps you think it's a sign of weakness, but in reality, when you cry in sujood, you're not breaking down. You're simply allowing yourself to be rebuilt. Allah, in His mercy, understands every tear you shed, even without you having to explain a single word. He knew it all along. The silent battles you fought within yourself, the fake laughter you used to mask the ache, the nights you stared at the ceiling wondering if you were enough, and the times you questioned whether your life had purpose. He saw it all, and yet He waited. He waited for that moment, that one sujood when your heart would finally stop pretending and simply fall apart so that He could begin putting it back together. And here's the miracle that most people miss. When you cry in sujood, you're not just letting go of pain, but you're also making room for light. That tear you shed, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a seed planted in the most sacred soil, the ground of sujood. And from this seed, Allah grows something you can't even imagine yet. You may rise from your prayer mat with a flushed face, shaky breath, and blurry eyes, but your soul rises lighter, stronger, and closer to the one who has never stopped loving you, even in your lowest, messiest, and most unworthy moments. So, don't run from those unexpected tears. Welcome them, because sometimes the tears you cry in sujood are the answer to a dua you didn't even know how to make. If tonight you weep again, don't apologize. Don't hold back. Just whisper from your heart, Ya Allah, I'm yours. That's all He's been waiting to hear, and that's all He's ever needed. 7. There are moments when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Your plans are crumbling, the people you trusted are disappearing, and the comfort you once found in your daily routine has vanished. You wake up, and it feels like the world has turned its back on you. Your peace is stolen, your future feels uncertain, and everything seems to be slipping through your fingers. Yet, despite all of this, you're still standing, not because you have the strength, but because Allah has never left your side. You see, when everything starts falling apart around you, it's not necessarily a sign of failure. Sometimes it's a sign of transformation. Allah might break down the walls of your life, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you with stronger foundations. If He doesn't shake things up, you'll stay comfortable in places that are slowly draining your soul. You might keep accepting almost love, living with barely enough peace, and settling for a life far smaller than the one you were meant for. So, when everything starts crashing, don't panic. Look deeper. Maybe the friendships you lost were shielding you from people who were secretly delaying your growth. Perhaps the doors that shut in your face were never meant to lead anywhere meaningful. Maybe the heartbreak you experienced wasn't a punishment. It was the only way to open your heart to a love that is real. And maybe, just maybe, Allah is stripping away everything that distracts you so He can finally give you everything you deserve. Because sometimes the greatest blessing isn't when Allah gives, it's when He takes away. He removes the distractions, the attachments, the things that were never meant to be part of your future, so that He can make space for the blessings that are meant to align with your true path. When He takes the fake peace, the wrong people, the shaky success, and the noise, so you can finally hear Him again. So, if your life feels like a mess right now, remember this: a storm is always loudest right before the sky clears, and destruction often comes before divine elevation. You haven't fallen, you've been caught by the only one who never drops what He holds. And from that place where it feels like nothing is left, that's exactly where Allah begins to rebuild your life into something greater than you ever imagined. Hold on. What's coming isn't the end. It's the beginning of the life you were always meant to live. The peace you've been seeking is within reach. But first, Allah is preparing you for it in ways you cannot yet see. So, trust the process and keep your heart open to the journey He is guiding you through. If any of this reached you, don't just feel it, respond to it. These are not just passing moments, these are divine messages. Say, I hear you, Ya Allah. In the comments, if even one of these signs touched your heart, share this with someone who's been feeling lost, because sometimes a sign is not what we see, it's what we feel deep inside. May Allah never stop sending you signs, and may you never stop seeing them. If this touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to Spiritual Deen, where faith meets healing, and every message is a reminder that Allah is always near. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment of reflection, growth, and divine reminders. Join the conversation in the comments and be part of a community that uplifts, heals, and remembers Allah together. Because sometimes one reminder is all it takes to change a heart.